With Wizards of the Coast giving us a release schedule for 2023, we kind of now have a blueprint for cards that we should be watching. Everyone loves a good roadmap, good blueprint on what to do right, what not to do to get things wrong. Welcome back everyone, MTG Moxman here, and thanks a lot for hanging out with me on the channel. Now this is more for the investment side of things. If you're one of those players who likes to flip cards, hold them, this is probably a video that you might like to get some information on. And if it's not, maybe you just want to listen and hang out with me in the Moxman channel here and chill out. Looking forward to seeing those comments in the comment section. So, Wizards of the Coast is giving us a release schedule. We know we got Phyrexians coming out of everywhere. We know we got the Brothers War coming up. We got Dominaria remastered. We got Lord of the Rings coming this year. Pretty epic stuff. But look beyond that. They also said we got Throne of Eldraine, the wilds of Throne of Eldraine. And then we're also checking things out back on Ixalan to see how things are going. And that's what we're going to cover on today's video is some cards from Ixalan you probably should be watching. I was not a fan of Ixalan. I want you guys to understand that going in, I didn't buy lots of boxes. I have 1 or 2 boxes of each one for Ixalan and Rivals of Ixalan. It wasn't a time in Magic where I was feeling good about where we were at Magic. I just wasn't collecting a lot of it. Even the stuff like Shadows over Innistrad, stuff like that. I wasn't a big fan of some of these sets that came out later on. I think I was just feeling exhaustion at the time after what happened with Zendikar and Oath of the Gatewatch. So I was buying stuff, but buying it on a lower key, just to kind of hold on to. I wasn't cracking a lot of packs. I wasn't doing a lot of cards with it. But I did go to the pre-release. I did play against some people. And of course, I did follow some of the cards. Now, excuse me, little frog in the throat there. When you look at this set, when you look at Ixalan, it had a shorter print run. It's got pirates and vampires and of course dinosaurs. So we have some pretty good dinosaurs already. But as Wizards explores these worlds and as they revisit them and the immortal sun is gone, they will give us new cool things to look at, new cards to be amazed at, and new mechanics and abilities to add on to what's already there. Now, flip into your investment mode. Which dinosaurs might be sought after for a dinosaur tribal deck? For Commander? For things going forward? What cards are people going to be after for vampires? Are there any in that series that matter? How about some of the pirates from that set? How about some of the artifacts? They also had the cool flip treasure, lost temple lands. I'll show you some in the stuff today. And some of those are pretty unique as well. Some of these cards are probably going to see an uptick in value. As you go through this video, you will probably get an understanding of where my mindset would be as a player who might want to invest or collect, buy a few extras of stuff now, a year out, and hold on to it before things have a chance to spike or go up or go against me. If it's going to be a decent set, that kind of brings more people's attention to the sealed boxes from Ixalan and Rivals of Ixalan. So there might be some boxes you want to buy before they get too expensive. Remember, they've been out of print for a few years, but they're not out of reach yet. For players who want to hold on to these boxes and see those returns 10, 12 years from now, when a new set like this comes out, it brings a little bit of that extra attention to those sets. So I like to buy these things ahead of time. I like to plan into the future, see what I'm going to do, and execute my plan of attack. I don't always like sharing everything I'm going to do. I'm much more open with my patrons, people on my Discord and stuff, right? But in videos like this, I like to let you guys know where I'm coming from so you can see what I would do as an angle of attack. And I've made tens of thousands of dollars off of all kinds of Magic cards. Only in the few years before YouTube, I was really into this stuff. Now I mainly keep hordes of sealed product, mainly for my patrons and future things I do on the channel. I don't really sell any of it like I used to, but I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm going after, and I know where the money can be made. So let's go through some of these cards. Let's take a look at some of these cards you probably should be watching right now, because not all these cards, but a few of them may be going up in value in the near future. The first card we're discussing today is Revelin Riches. Now, this card, of course, these are all from Ixalan today, but you look at this card and see it's 1 black mana, 4 generic, a 5 mana cost. Now, as an enchantment, it has the text that says, whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, create a treasure token. It's an artifact with sacrifice this artifact and add any 1 mana to your mana pool. Fine. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 10 or more treasure tokens, you win the game. What is the likelihood of Wizards of the Coast bringing this around? What are the chances of it popping back up soon and being available to players? I would argue they're probably not going to put it in anytime soon, but there might be other cards that synergize with this card to make it more valuable, to make it more worthy of being used more often in Commander decks. Wizards really seems to be going that way. And when you see this card for like $11.77 is that market price, $18 here in Canada, €7.12 to get that card, understand that has value to people playing with it. It's gonna be a cheap card. And anyone looking at the foil there and seeing it's 25.15, the foils are a little bit older. This card will have a slightly higher because it's before all the flashiness, right? So foils are going to cost more money. But a player who does decide to buy this card will probably be avoiding the foil unless they got lots of money. They'll be looking for the cheapest available copy that's near mint. If you're a person investing and flipping in cards, you are going to want to get the near mint copies from this. You're going to want to make sure they're perfect because you don't want any hassles with players when you resell them to make some money. This is an amazing card. Amazing. I've seen it played in Commander so many times now with these little like token deck things. It's crazy. Now our next card is the Carnage Tyrant. Now this card's not super expensive. It's less than $10 US, $11 here in Canada. Foil's $12. A little bit of disparity. I like that. €7.93 to get this card into your house. But when you take a look at the card and you see, again, 2 green, 4 other, yeah, it's going to be a predominantly green deck. As soon as you see that second green, you're kind of tying yourself to green. But it's a decent card. It can't be countered. It has trample. It has hexproof. I mean, thank goodness the thing doesn't have haste. But this thing is a beast, okay? I look at this card and realize I love cards that can't be countered. I love cards that can't be stopped. When I go out there stomping on people, they've got to deal with it. They have to have some way of sacrificing or making you lose all your creatures or board wipes. I love it. You know, you got to lose the creature of the highest count. And this card's like $11, but it's also a dinosaur. And Wizards is definitely going to be messing with a lot of dinosaurs on Ixalan. They're going to be bringing this kind of stuff back around. We might see some new mythic dinosaurs, probably quite a few rare ones that will add value to players who might be trying to build dinosaur tribal decks. There's a few out there. We've had a few dinosaurs in numerous sets now. But when they go to actual Ixalan here, just like in Rivals of Ixalan, you're going to get some decent dinosaurs. You're going to get some real playable Beastie Boys out there, just like Dragon decks. You'll probably see an expansion of what's going on there, which means Wizards will want to broaden out some of the dinosaur choices to make them more playable and more visible in Commander. Wizards is building toward the Commander series decks because they realize so many players enjoy the Commander format. Pay attention to that if you're a flipper investor. This is stuff you have to look at. Now, for our next card, we have the Growing Rights of Lomec. I can't pronounce this thing properly. Now, this is interesting, okay? This is one of those kind of treasure cards they had. I can look at this card now, and I can tell you, it's amazing. What a fun card to have around. It can flip over, by the way. So first, it's 1 green, 2 other, legendary enchantment, of course, from Ixalan. When Growing Rights of Lomec enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more creatures, you get to transform the card. You get to change over. And when you flip the card over, it'll say the Cradle of the Sun. And this is what they did. These were supposed to be like these evocation type lands. They, couldn't do because they ended it. They said, oh, we're not doing it anymore. So they did this instead, these treasure lands. And look what it says here. Add 1 green to your mana pool, or add 1 green to your mana pool for each creature you control. It's another form of going around the reserve list and getting us a Gaia's Cradle of Growth. Okay? This is amazing. I'm surprised this card is actually not more expensive because this is not hard to pull off in a deck. Getting this card out is not an impossible task, and it's amazing to see it, okay? $29 Canadian, and I can get a form of Cradle of Growth, maybe not the dead-on, spot-on version, but another version that I can add into a Commander deck that's predominantly green. That's amazing to me. And I realize, again, that sets like Ixalan, Brothers War, Remastered, Dominaria, there's certain things coming up you have to pay attention to. Now, I generally go with the rule of 4 if it's just for your personal consumption, but if you're flipping and investing, you might want to get yourself 8, 12, 16 of these things, and if the price starts to rise, you're going to make out like a bandit. Again, not a card I expect to see reprinted anytime soon. Our next card today is going to be Primal Amulet. Again, $11.58, not a super expensive card to get your hands on. It is one of the flip cards again. So this thing comes in as a 4 generic artifact, and it says your instant and sorcery spells are 1 less to cast, which is already okay. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a charge counter on the Primal Amulet. Then, if there are 4 more counters, you may remove them and transform it. Now, when it transforms, it becomes the Primal Wellspring. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. When that mana is spent to cast an instant or sorcery spell, you copy it. You get to copy it and choose new targets. Think about the broken ways you can use this card, and it fits in any deck. Remember that. This is an artifact, okay? And if you have lots of instants and sorceries in your deck, this thing is just an artifact. You can put it in anywhere and use it. It can be run in so many different color decks. It's an amazing piece to anybody's collection to have around. I love that card. And it's pretty, let's face it, this is a pretty inexpensive card to get your hands on, being like $11, $12, $16 here in Canada, €7. Very cheap, guys. Very cheap. Although some places did have it sold out, by the way. Now, our next card is Azores Gateway. This card's cheap. $3.75 here in Canada for a near mint copy. Foils like $8.32 US. Market price is $3.19 US. This is a very inexpensive card to get your hands on. And again, it is one of the flip cards, okay? So this one comes up pretty easily when you look at this card. It's, again, not too hard to get out. Pretty inexpensive to put onto the battlefield. I love cards like this. When you see Azores Gateway and you go, wow, this is just like a two casting cost artifact to put out there, and I draw a card and then I exile a card from your hand, like this thing has things going for it. And when that card flips over and you realize, hey, this is not too bad, right? It adds X mana of any one color to your mana pool, where X is your life total. Think about that. X is your life total, and that's what this thing does. That is crazy to do. It is any one color, but again, it can be splashed into so many decks, right? You draw a card and exile a card from your hand. If there are 5 or more cards of different converted mana costs, that is so easy to do. You gain 5 life and tap it, and then you transform it. I love it. What an amazing card to have around. And this one's really inexpensive, guys. These are cards that may be sought out after. They may not, but they could be. Now, the search for Ascanta. Again, I like this card. I did buy a play set of 4. I already picked this card up because I was like, there's no way I'm missing out on this particular card. So this is a legendary enchantment. 1 blue, 1 other. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put that card into the graveyard. Then if you have 7 more cards in your graveyard, you can transform it. Now think about that. Is that really that hard to transform it? Because you also have instants and sorceries. You have all these cards like consider, like you have lots of choices that you can use in deck construction to make this thing ping off. And when it does change over, it has 1 blue to your mana pool. Great, you can add a blue mana, but 1 blue, 2 other. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may then reveal a non-creature, non-land card from it and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. It's another form of scrying that goes along perfectly with cards like Castle Vantress and, of course, my favorite, Soldevi Excavations. Any card that's letting you search and cycle and get ahead of your opponents really has something going for it, especially in commander play, okay? Being able to get ahead of things is such a nice, a nice advantage over another player. Now, the next card is Treasure Map. This card, again, less than $10 Canadian, $9 for a near mint copy. The market average is $7.18 US, €5.14 to get that card. And again, all the foils are older, so they do cost a little bit more. They're a little harder to get, as it were. But when you take a look at Treasure Map, it's a 2 casting cost artifact. I love these style of artifacts that can go anywhere. Not all these treasure lands work that way, but a lot of them do, which is so awesome. Okay, 1 and tap, scry 1. Put a landmark counter on Treasure Map. If there are 3 or more landmark counters on it, you transform it, which is beautiful. And create 3 colorless treasure tokens that say sacrifice, and you can like get a mana. That's fine. So that already can fit with the other card we saw earlier, the Revelin Riches, right? But you look at the Treasure Map here and it says you can tap to add a colorless mana to your mana pool. That's fine. That's the Treasure Cove, right? But you can also sacrifice a treasure to draw a card. Now, that may not seem powerful unto itself, but when you add it to other cards that now make treasure tokens, and you see a card like this can be very powerful because it's basically just tap it and draw a card because you're just sacrificing treasure tokens. an amazing card. And really overall, guys, we're talking a very inexpensive piece to buy. This is not a lot of money to get these cards. Our next card is Gizmat, the Sun's Avatar. And yes, I actually got just curb stomped by this thing at the pre-release when somebody got it out on the battlefield against me. I didn't have a chance. Okay, it's a great card. Okay, it's going to be in a lot of dinosaur decks already. It's already seeing play all over the place. I look at this and realize, you know, do I want to play this? Do I want to have it around? It has value. It's got vigilance, trample, haste. Now, whenever Gizmat's Sun Avatar deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put any number of dinosaur cards from among them onto the battlefield and the rest in the bottom of your library. Think about this thing in a dinosaur tribal and what dinosaurs may be coming down the line. Okay, I think this guy's been printed, I think, in a secret layer as well, right? Is it not just this one? I think it's also a secret layer he's been around. But he's got some value, he's got playability, and he doesn't cost like an arm and a leg yet. $21 Canadian for a near mint copy. The market's like $16.20. This is still a very attainable card. And Wizards is likely not to reprint it right now. Cards like this, they will want to rise in value for the next kind of double master series sets. When this card hits 30, 35 bucks, they may be putting other dinosaurs that pair off with this to make that value climb. Right? Wizards does that. They say, hey, this card's got some value. It's not doing badly. We put in a secret layer. We're chilling. But we want this card to hit like 30, 40 bucks. We want it to have some value. All they got to do is give you a couple of dinosaurs or a couple of things that make this thing come back from the dead or stop it from being removed. Give it indestructible really easily for dinosaurs. You know, very, dinosaur-centric cards. And this thing's going to ping off at a very high price and have future value. Now, our next card, this is one of those ones I like to say, you know, a lot of fun under the sun. And that's the Awakening Sun's Avatar. $8 near mint. Very inexpensive, less than 10 bucks Canadian. €3.18 to get that card into your house. And you're looking at a market value of $7.24 US. Now, when you're looking at the card and you look at the value, yes, it's going to be big time in a white deck. Okay, I get that. But there are lots of ways to still fit this in other decks because there's so many lands now, so much mana fixing, that this is still not an insurmountable card to have. 8 casting costs for a 7/7. When Waking Sun's Avatar enters a battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, destroy all non-dinosaur creatures. So it isn't just saying an opponent, it's saying everyone. So if you're playing a commander game and you got 4, 5, 6 people playing with you and you just wipe everyone's battlefield except for all your dinosaurs, they better have an answer for it. This card, as a board wipe and adding it into other board wipe potential cards, makes a lot of sense. It has good value, it's not a super expensive card, and it's still a 7/7 that can give people a beatdown if they don't take care of it. I love cards like this that have that multi-user ability. It speaks to me saying, yeah, this is something people should be paying attention to. And the last card I want to speak about is going to be the Dragon Skull Summit, and that's like the mana base. This has been reprinted lots of times. I don't know if these are actually going to come around again. Some of them are a little more expensive than others. I think the most expensive one is the blue-black. I think it's like a $8, $9 card Canadian. $11 Canadian, $8, $9 US. $7 Canadian for a near mint copy of this card. I think it got printed in, I want to say like 2012 or something as well, I think. Market price, $3.70. €3.53 to get this card in your house. I get it. This is not the best mana base in the world to have, okay? It's not, but it's not awful either. When it enters the battlefield, untapped, unless you control a swamp or a mountain, okay? Those are pretty easy to get, but we're going to have lands rotating out. We're not going to have access to pathways. We're going to be missing some of this stuff. By the time this set comes around next year, if this land cycle is included, you might want to buy some of the other ones that are the original ones, because people may be seeking out the more blingy, kind of awesome looking ones. But at the same time, they're not that expensive right now. And that means you're going to have that chance to grab some of these cards before they spike up. I understand when I look at cards like this, it is not going to be everyone's appetite or cup of tea. And it doesn't have to be. It's the way I look at the cards and how I determine value. Not everything you're going to pick is going to be a hit. But does it have some playability, some versatility to it that can make it usable in other games, other formats? Is it a card you would play with and want to have around? Some of these cards here shouldn't be ignored. They're going to have some future value. I'm going to make sure I probably at least have a play set of each in the next month or two as things start, winding forward. We go to the Brothers War. We have Dominaria Unite already coming out. Before you know it, it'll be remastered. And then we're into the whole Phyrexians, which is going to be awesome. I can't wait to cover that stuff. And then we're going to move into these sets. Before you know it, Lord of the Rings. It's all going to come around. The time frame these cards come is very quick. The advantage you have is you're watching this kind of video now, and you can determine for yourself if there's any cards you want to get that you think might be spiking value from Ixalan before it comes around, including the sealed boxes. Don't ignore that stuff. That's when people start to take notice and realize how much fun it was back then to play with giant honking dinosaurs, right? So thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Looking forward to seeing those comments in the comments section. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Of course, a big shout out to all the fantastic patrons on the channel who support me each and every day as we strive to make this channel bigger, badder, and bolder. Thanks to all the new subscribers on the channel. You guys all rock. I feel like I'm back in 1993, whatever, watching Jurassic Park in the movie theater. There's something about the dinosaurs I think is so cool, but seeing it in Magic cards throws me off a bit, you know? Thanks a lot for making it to the end of the video, guys. Thanks for chilling out with me. How do we feel about dinosaurs? Are we like, Velociraptor style? I know. I'll see you guys soon. Have an awesome day.